Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a look into a set of sources that outline a true crime investigation that is it's incredibly sobering. The digital evidence moves so much faster than the killer could possibly have imagined.
Right. Our mission here is really to analyze the forensic timeline around the murder of a 34-year-old nurse, Jennifer Hayes, in Phoenix back in July of 2024.
And what's so remarkable, and you see it in the sources, the police reports, the digital logs, is that they provide this step-by-step blueprint of a planned crime.
It's almost cinematic. You see the killer's intent from minute one, and the technology just follows him every step of the way. And that was the last confirmed contact anyone had with Jennifer. That innocuous text. It's the moment she leaves the safety of her workplace and steps right into a trap.
So let's nail down her final movements.
Okay.
Jennifer worked at Phoenix Memorial Hospital. She finished her 3 to 11 shift.
Right.
The security footage, which is detailed in the sources, it shows her leaving the staff entrance at 11:43 p.m. She's walking alone to her car.
Level 3 of the parking garage.
Level 3. And she drives out onto the street at 11:452 p.m. Everything looks completely routine, just a nurse ending her day.
And then the alarm bells start ringing the next afternoon.
Yeah.
Jennifer was due for another shift at 3 p.m. on July 23rd, but she never clocked in.
So her supervisor, a head nurse named Patricia Chen, she follows protocol. She calls Jennifer's roommate,
Casey Miller, who confirms Jennifer never came home, and crucially, her car wasn't in their apartment parking lot.
So we go from, concern about a late arrival to a full-blown missing person investigation.
And unfortunately, it transitioned to a homicide case very, very quickly.
How quickly?
Just 36 hours after she left work. On July 24th, her body was found.
Wow.
In a remote desert location about 40 miles outside Phoenix, just off Highway 60.
And what investigators found at that scene? It immediately pointed them towards a very personal motive.
Right. Absolutely. The details were deeply contradictory, but they gave investigators immediate insight.
How so?
She'd been shot once, execution style, in the back of the head. Her scrubs were torn and dirty, suggesting, a struggle, that she'd been forced there.
Okay.
But then her car was found abandoned on July 23rd, much closer to the city, in a shopping center parking lot only 15 miles from the hospital.
That's a huge distance between the victim and her car. It suggests an active attempt to, muddy the waters, stage the scene.
It truly does. And that attempt at confusion, it actually helped paint a clearer picture.
Right.
They realized they were dealing with a two-stage process, an abduction followed by a very carefully selected murder and disposal site.
And the time of death confirmed that.
Exactly. The medical examiner estimated it was the early morning hours of July 23rd. And the most compelling factor, no robbery.
Her wallet, credit cards.
Untouched. Her bank account, untouched. This wasn't about theft, it was about obsession.
Which brings us squarely to the man investigators quickly identified as the prime suspect.
Brian Kowalski.
And the extremely disturbing history Jennifer had been trying to navigate.
Kowalski was 38. His connection to Jennifer was brief and professional. He was a former patient she treated in the ER.
After a car accident, right, in early June.
That's it. That one interaction became the foundation for this intense fixation.
And the escalation was frighteningly fast. I mean, Jennifer wasn't just annoyed by this. She recognized the danger.
She did. The sources document her actions. She filed a formal complaint with hospital management on July 10th.
And she stated explicitly that Kowalski had become obsessed.
She detailed a clear pattern of harassment, calling the ER, asking for her, sending unwanted flowers.
And then the really alarming part, showing up in person.
Physically appearing in the hospital parking garage, claiming he needed to talk to her. Head nurse Patricia Chen confirmed Jennifer felt harassed and unsafe.
So the hospital, they did react. They issued a formal trespass warning on July 15th, banning him from the property. But this raises a major question for us. If the hospital formally recognized the threat and acted on it just a week before her death, how did he get so close to her?
And that's the key distinction we need to look at. A trespass warning is a deterrent, sure, but it's fundamentally a piece of paper.
Right.
It works against, opportunistic crime, but against a calculated, planned obsession, it often just escalates the stalker's determination.
So he knew her schedule, he knew her routine, he knew where she parked.
And the warning just told him he needed to be more careful about when and how he waited for her.
He used that boundary as a data point in his plan. He knew he couldn't walk into the ER anymore.
So he shifted his focus to the last unguarded point of her routine, her car in the staff garage.
And this is where his cover story, that he was home alone that night, just completely begins to collapse.
Because the digital footprint he left was massive.
This is where it gets really fascinating. Let's focus on that critical window, the few minutes after she drove out of the garage at 11:52 p.m.
Okay, so the crucial moment starts at 12:10 a.m. Jennifer's phone receives a 47-second incoming call.
From a number traced directly to Brian Kowalski.
Yes.
Wait. So she leaves the hospital, drives for about 18 minutes, and then gets a call from the guy who is legally banned from being there. They had to be physically close at that moment.
They must have been. This strongly implies he was either tailing her or he'd already intercepted her.
And then it gets worse.
The digital record tightens the noose. 8 minutes later, at 12:18 a.m., Jennifer's phone powers off permanently.
So in the space of, 15 minutes, she goes from taking a call to her phone being completely disabled.
And the traffic cameras confirm that something drastic happened right around that 12:15 a.m. mark.
Her car was following her normal route home.
But then, at 12:15 a.m., just as that phone call was ending, the vehicle is recorded diverting onto Highway 60, heading east.
Directly away from her apartment.
Yeah.
And toward the remote desert location where her body was found.
The timeline is just incredibly tight and incriminating. Kowalski's actions established total control over her almost immediately.
And the car was tracked near the discovery site at 12:47 a.m.
So less than an hour from her driving normally to her being near the execution site.
And then the car is seen again at 2:30 a.m., coming back west. But investigators noticed something subtle about the driver.
Yes, the forensic analysis of that footage was extremely valuable.
What did they see?
The driver's seat. It was positioned way further back than it would have been for Jennifer, who was only 5'4".
Implying someone much taller was now driving.
Someone like the 6-foot Brian Kowalski driving her car after the murder, trying to abandon it miles away from the crime scene.
So that combination, the phone trace, the route change, the seat position, that was damning before they even had the search warrants.
And the physical evidence they recovered on July 26th, it sealed the case. Definitive proof.
Let's get into what they found. Inside his truck.
In his truck, investigators found Jennifer's blood. It was clearly visible on the passenger seat and the floor mat.
Wow.
And even more compelling, the murder weapon, a 9mm handgun registered to Kowalski, was hidden in the truck bed.
And ballistics.
An immediate match to the bullet recovered from Jennifer's body.
And what about her personal effects? The things she was forced to leave behind?
Those were recovered from his home, hidden deep inside a bedroom closet.
What did they find?
Her purse, her missing phone, and her nurse ID badge.
So he kept trophies.
Classic trophies. Items taken to relive the act, to solidify that sense of power. But beyond the trophies, the evidence of his planning was just staggering.
This wasn't impulsive. This was a project for him.
It was. Investigators found a whole folder. It had printouts of Jennifer's social media posts, a complete dossier of her work schedule.
How did he get her work schedule?
He admitted it by calling the hospital repeatedly until someone gave it to him.
Oh my God.
And most disturbingly, several photographs he had taken of her in the hospital parking garage without her knowledge.
So he was mapping her routine, waiting for the moment she was most vulnerable. He didn't just ignore the trespass warning. He used her schedule to plan around it.
Exactly. And the final, undeniable nail in the coffin was his own phone's GPS data.
Let me guess.
It showed his device traveling the exact same route Jennifer's car took.
From the hospital?
To the desert execution site and then back toward Phoenix. His own device tracked the entire sequence, completely destroying his alibi.
And the search history. That provides the terrifying narrative of his intent, doesn't it?
It shows he was planning his cover-up before he even committed the crime.
What kind of searches?
His search history from July 20th and 21st, just days before the murder, was focused on phrases like, how to get someone to go with you.
Chillin'.
Remote areas near Phoenix, and perhaps most chillingly, police investigation timeline.
He wasn't just planning the murder. He was proactively researching how long it would take police to connect the dots.
It speaks to the efficiency of modern forensics. The physical evidence, the blood, the gun, the trophies, that's all crucial. But it was the digital data that established the concrete timeline and just dismantled his lies within hours.
Brian Kowalski was arrested on July 27, 2024, charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, stalking, and prosecutors are seeking the death penalty.
You know, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the surveillance and preparation were as intense as the crime itself.
Right.
That chilling transition from just stalking to actively researching how to get someone to go with you, It just demonstrates such a calculated criminal intent. The documents, the search history, they were all confessions waiting to be found.
And here's a provocative thought for you to consider as you reflect on this deep dive.
Right.
We know Jennifer Hayes filed a formal complaint. The institution issued a trespass warning. Given the rapid escalation we see in his documented surveillance, what responsibility does a public institution have when a staff member reports such a severe threat? And what practical steps could possibly offer greater protection against a threat that simply moves this ambush from inside the building to just outside its walls?